And I thought maybe I would, flowing out of what we just saw in Furnace Mountain, talk a little bit about what hasn't come up so much this week, which is the sign that greets me every time I enter my health club in California, which is change begins within. And we're all witness to exhilarating, dramatic changes in the external landscape. But I think we all know that they fundamentally start inside ourselves, in imagination or vision or conscience, just what the Dalai Lama said in his letter about inner disarmament. Peaceful action can't come easily from a scattered or disturbed consciousness. And these days, it sometimes seems that our inner landscape is more shrunken, more cut up, and more overcast than ever before. Every single person in this room, even if you were not at the Festival of Faiths, would take in more data today than Shakespeare took in his entire lifetime. Does that mean you know more than Shakespeare? Does it mean you're wiser than he? I'm not sure. The average American today spends 8.5 hours every day in front of a screen, which may mean that the real world has a greater power to confound or unsettle us than ever before. There's a great new field called interruption science, and researchers in it have found that it takes the average person 25 minutes fully to recover her concentration after just one phone call. But in a room such as this, the average person receives a phone call every 11 minutes. And my sense is that humans were never meant to live at a pace determined by machines. I think we were made for living at the speed of life rather than the speed of light. And I'm thinking too that if there's one thing that everybody in this room would take a bet on, it is that our devices are not going to get slower or go away. And we wouldn't want them to. But I think if we're beginning to feel dizzy right now, we will feel literally 100 times dizzier 10 years from now. And so we have to take some conscious measures just to reclaim our sanity and our sense of balance. Our problem, if we're feeling overburdened and scattered, is never with our devices, it's with ourselves. If I'm busy eating and eating and eating from a jumbo bag of potato chips, and then I get a stomachache, I can't blame the potato chips. The only problem is in me, and therefore the solution is in me. And I was talking a couple of days ago about watching His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, and as he goes through 8 hours of his working day, I witness again and again, he never takes even 5 minutes off. And he's absolutely present and completely attentive to everybody around him for those entire 8 hours. And I think that's in part because before he even emerges from his hotel room every morning, he wakes up at 3:30 and does 4 full hours of meditation. Some of you may have seen Leonard Cohen, and if you saw him, you noticed that he brought to the stage a sense of intimacy and of focus and of depth that we're not used to seeing at a typical rock concert. And I think that's in part because he spent 5.5 years living as a monk. And I watched him in his monastery meditating for up to 18 hours every day, collecting his inner resources. But even Steve Jobs, for example, who gave us these devices, famously came to all his important decisions by walking unplugged, just thinking things out or having a conversation with friends. But I'm guessing that just about every one of you have already begun to take certain measures just to ensure you don't get engulfed. Because I think the danger of an overcrowded schedule is the same as that of an overcrowded desk or room, which is that in moments of crisis, you can't lay your hands on what is most important. So, and I would add that busy people are seldom too happy or too kind. If you're really happy, racing from conference call to text to cell phone to email, please continue. But my suspicion is that many of us don't find our deepest fulfillment, that we lose contact with what is wisest and realist inside ourselves. It's almost as if many of us find ourselves on this accelerating roller coaster that we never quite asked to get on, but now we don't know how to get off. And yet, I think any one of us, of course, can get off it anytime we choose. When you're on the treadmill in the health club, turn off the TV. and suddenly your mind can think or not think, but can run like a dog off the leash on a beach. If, like me, you love listening to the radio when you're driving around town, maybe sometimes turn the radio off. Suddenly you enjoy a micro vacation. In our little apartment in Japan, every night I'm waiting for my wife to come back from her job, and I, so to speak, kill time, or I used to, by scrolling through websites or checking my emails or turning on the TV. There's never anything to watch on Japanese TV. And then one day I just turned off the lights and I put on some music. Initially quiet music, but in later days not so quiet music. And I was amazed how much clearer I felt when I heard her key in the door, how much better I slept, and how much less jangled I was when I woke up the following morning. I think the last 20 minutes and the first 20 minutes of every day are disproportionately important to our well-being. A very wise, kind friend in Kyoto, Japan, said to me, "Well, have you ever tried just sitting quietly for 30 minutes every day in one corner of the room?" And I said, "No way, I don't have time for that, especially now I'm going to the health club every day." And it didn't take me long to realize it was a very silly and short-sighted thing to say. It's akin to saying, "I don't have time to take my medicine. I don't have time to go to the doctor. I don't have time to be either happy or kind." One thing that I have begun doing is every season I go for 3 days on retreat. And every time, although I've been doing it 25 years, as I'm driving up to the monastery, I'm feeling really guilty. The minute I set foot in silence, I realize it's only by going there I will have anything creative and fresh and joyful to share. People who have created our devices are the ones who are most wise about putting limits on them. As you probably know, many people in internet industries observe an internet Sabbath every week in which they go completely offline for 24 hours, in the knowledge that by doing so they'll have much more that's inventive and invigorating and liberating to offer when they go online again. They know that machines have given us everything except a sense of how to make the wisest and most discerning use of machines. And so at a festival of faiths, it seems to me that Jesus went and spent 40 days and 40 nights in the wilderness. The Buddha came to his realization just by sitting still. At the time of the prophet, people were meditating all around Mecca. The Jewish tradition gave us this glorious bounty of the Sabbath, and God himself rested on the seventh day. So I think every major tradition in the world is just telling us one thing, which is give inner peace a chance. Thank you.